Don't adjust your television sets. You didn't just go colorblind. The Trump campaign put out this black and white ad about Trump being a victim of a witch hunt. So we went black and white right here in Exile in sympathy. Plus, I love film noir. Watch this case. It's mostly brought by never-Trumpers. I'll unpack that for you. Trump's enemies are coming over to his side. Welcome to Doug in Exile.
I refuse to indulge the fiction that this is an episode of the criminal justice system doing justice.
That's Andrew McCarthy, one of the most respected legal guys on the right, on the Republican side. He's the one that was on the prosecution of Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the blind sheikh, or whatever they call him. And so he has argued stuff before the Supreme Court. He's brilliant, and they use him profusely in this commercial. He's also a never-Trumper. And listen to how he sounds. He's defending Trump, saying this is a witch hunt.
I mean this very sincerely. I am convinced that the New York justice system is determined to crush Donald Trump, and they'll do whatever it takes, including abusing the law. No one really understands what the underlying crime is because it's not in the indictment.
Yeah, no one knows the underlying crime. They're going to go into this. This is specifically under Alvin Bragg, because he never states the actual crime, only that there's another, that it's a crime to try to cover up a crime. So they never mentioned the first crime he committed. They only come out and claim it's the cover-up that makes it into a felony. That's why Alvin Bragg, that's what he's using to try and bump this up to a felony. But you have to name the first crime, and he won't say what it is.
There's not more to it. There's not an incredible new set of facts that we didn't know about publicly. It's really the facts of this case as they have existed for basically almost 7 years.
Okay, so what changed in 7 years? The fact that changed is Trump ran for president. That's what got them to go into this dumpster dive of all these super stretched laws. And that's what makes it clear that this is political. It is just political, and it's an assault on our legal justice system. It is undermining New York, undermines our Constitution. We can't let this happen.
That will play immediately into the politics of this, that there was nothing new, that there was not a new surprising fact pattern.
I love this guy. He's on CNN. CNN is saying the fact pattern is there's nothing new in these indictments.
In America, we're supposed to have a free and fair justice system, and one of the critical components of that is to know what you're being charged with. The accused has the right to know what they're being accused of, right? That's a hallmark of the Sixth Amendment in the Constitution, something we're all guaranteed to have.
So that's the Democrats even assaulting the Constitution to go after Trump. That's what's going to push this thing up to the Supreme Court if need be. But meanwhile, they're hoping just to tie Trump up before the election so they get their preferred end of a win. It's not going to work so far. It's only benefited Trump. So this has backfired on them. They didn't see this coming. They wouldn't have done it if they knew this. But now they've gotten out over their skis, and they're going to keep doubling down because it would be too embarrassing for them to retract it and uphold the Constitution. So they're going to go, just keep going forward. We're going to keep, this is all we've got, guys.
This is a highly partisan, highly political process. We have a progressive prosecutor who has taken a crime that he wouldn't prosecute against anyone conceivably except Donald Trump. He would never bring this misdemeanor against anyone. He's brought it against Trump. It's time barred. He's bringing it against Trump anyway. He's trying to dress it up into a felony by invoking federal law that he doesn't have any jurisdiction to prosecute. And that's how we land in court. That's not the criminal justice system. That's a political persecution.
In other words, that's Andrew McCarthy, smartest guy, legal expert, anti-Trumper, saying, in other words, this is a witch hunt.
It's another example of a New York prosecution going after Trump where there's no victim.
How do you sort of legality-wise, but also on the optics of it, then sort of bump this up from misdemeanor to felony when you've downgraded 52% of felonies and won't prosecute many of the violent crimes?
So that's the other line of evidence, is that Alvin Bragg has reduced felonies to misdemeanors across his career to over 50% of the bad guys that actually kill people. And then Trump, who just runs for office, and then he tries to bump up this misdemeanor into a felony. So that's logic. That's using, what is that? Law of the excluded middle, if we're going to quote Aristotle. I'm sorry.
Down here on planet Earth, we shouldn't be regarding Alvin Bragg as a law enforcement official. We should be regarding him as what he is, which is an elected progressive Democrat.
Yeah, so he's not appointed, so he shouldn't get the kind of a pass you'd give to someone who's serving the public. He's elected by hardened Democrats in this area to perform this political stunt of getting Trump in trouble because he went on the ballot. And he's invoking, this is a lawyer, Andrew McCarthy, like one of the highest legal scholars. And he's saying, don't regard Alvin Bragg as a normal, public servant. This is political.
Looking at this, I just assume, okay, well, this whole thing really is rigged.
It's ridiculous.
If his name were John Smith, Melvin Bragg would not be bringing this case. And so I think that's a real political problem.
That's Jonah Goldberg, probably the most never-Trumper of the Republican side in Beltway, Washington. He despises Trump. He calls Donald Trump a Cheeto man or something like that. He just flat out will not vote for him. That's why it's so important to me. It's actually makes a stronger case when you can go to the other side, to opponents, and have them defend your guy. It means this has gone way beyond politics, because Jonah Goldberg has zero political interest in helping Trump. He's not here on behalf of politics. He's saying the minimal case of justice, of rule of law, of the Constitution means even I, this never-Trumper, I have to come out and defend him and call this politics. It's the strongest case you can make for your side, guys, and they're making it all day in black and white.
The bigger question is, can he get a fair trial in New York?
Well, that is a huge question.
This is political persecution. This is a persecution like never before. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And again, it's a case that should have never been brought. It's an assault on America.
And that's the end of his campaign ad. I just think it's funny because Trump is known to exaggerate when he goes, no one's ever seen this kind of political persecution before. He may have been exaggerated a long time ago, but now it's absolutely true. It's actually a pretty humble, minimal statement. At the minimum, he's the most politically persecuted presidential candidate we've ever had in America. And that's saying a lot. I'm Doug in Exile in black and white.